everybody, and welcome to our Thursday recap of the Asian Buggy Championships here in a beautiful afternoon in Manila, Philippines. The Asian Buggy Championships is a concept that I had many years ago before the whole world shut down and crazy pandemic and everything. And now that everything is kind of rolling again, I got the idea going, and we're here at round one, which is an event we do every year called the Philippine Masters, and we incorporated that into our championship. And so far it's been just an epic time here in the Philippines. Today, as I said, was our opening day, our first day of the event here, and we just had a plethora of track activity. People here from all over the region. I think our count is 13 or 14, maybe more countries that are represented here at the event, and everybody's just having a blast. They love the track. It's crazy. It's kind of 3D, you know, big jumps and way deep valleys, and it's a challenge. There's no doubt about it, but everybody's having a good time, and they love the feeling and the vibe that we have here is just something really different. We always talk about the races I like to do are, you know, a little bit about a race and a lot of bit about a fun. And that's what we have in here. And we're going to have a big banquet tomorrow night with the band and some drinks and food and just having a really good time. And that's what the concept we're trying to do in the Asian Buggy Championships. And we couldn't do it without the banners you see behind us. VP Racing, our title sponsor. I can't thank them enough for coming on board and being our title sponsor, along with Matrix Tires and TLR and Techno and a whole lot of them. We couldn't do it, and it's a bit of faith that these companies have in us to give this region something really special. There's lots of big races in America, lots of big races in Europe, but Asia and Australia, they kind of don't have anything, you know, real pinnacle type event, and that's what the Asian Buggy Championships is going to be. We're going to go up to Australia, we're going to go to a couple other locations and bring you folks some coverage here of some of the best drivers in the region. We got a couple rock stars here. We got David Ongaro going to be here, Robert Battier, you know, a couple world champions going to be here. So we're going to have the pros and the Joes all having a good time here at round one in the Philippines. Hope you're enjoying your coverage. We're going to do a little track walk. We're going to throw over the boys to Ben and Zach. They're going to give you a little insight of the track here in the Philippines.
Welcome everyone to the 2023 Philippine Masters and the first round of the Asian Buggy Championships here in Manila in the Philippines. We're going to do a track walk today. We're going to show you a little bit of the technicality, some of the elevation, and what an amazing track that Edward CEO and the team have built. Let's get into it, Zach.
Yeah, well, first off, most straights are usually flat and they're straight, but this straight is not. It's actually quite a bit downhill. It might be a little bit hard to see from the camera, but you know, there's a lot of elevation change even just on the straight, and that really sets you up for turn one. It's quite difficult breaking downhill, and that leads you into the first jump section, which is quite a sweeping double, and many cars have been hitting the barrier. Quite a challenging turn one.
It's a tricky little section. You know, you're carrying a lot of speed coming down the straight. You got to get off early, set the car into this jump section. You know, I was talking to Robert earlier on today, and, you know, he had a laugh with his first couple of tanks that he went around here in. It is a difficult section. It's really narrow from the top of the driver's stand. You want to be kind of in the middle, and then I'll sweep into the inside, hugging the pipe and landing tight. You can see behind you the amount of cars that have hit the fence here. It looks like we need a panel beater to come in and fix some of the fencing here. There's been plenty of cars that have hit it. It is a tricky start to a tricky lap here. So you want to be landing down into the down ramp here, hugging the pipe nicely, and then setting yourself up for really good drive to get over this small double and then to the next section.
And you can also see here, there's a bit of dust on the inside. So if any cars through the run are hitting that dust can just come onto the line, and that's right on the inside where you want to be. So something to watch out for. If there is dust on the line, you're not going to have as much grip, and it's really easy then for when you get on the power out of here, you're going to get squirrely, and that's not going to really set you up for this section. So just watching that grip coming out of that corner, and then right on the inside here is where you want to be. And as you'll see, quite a lot of these jump sections aren't angled in the direction that you actually want to go in. So that's where the position on where you leave the jump face is so important. So again, you're on the right-hand side of this jump, and you're kind of jumping across the track here, and then landing on the inside if you can on this double, and that sets you up for the next tabletop section.
Yeah, and I think you can see one of the characteristics of the track is, you know, none of the jumps are square to each other. There's always angles that are going on here. So Zach says, kind of on the inside there. I think I've even seen a couple of people, almost cutting the track as well, landing on the inside and then just setting up for probably the easiest section on the whole track. Maybe the only time you can actually get a little bit of a breath into a tabletop and then a step up. So let's walk up there and take a look. One of the things that the track team have been doing each afternoon so far, which has been great, is they've been putting a light coat of molasses down. So I think to help with, some of that dust that's coming in off the track when cars go into the grass and bring dirt back in, they'll put molasses down. That's helped the grip come up a little bit today. What's been great is tire wear's been really low. People have been on, super soft, long wear, clay compound tires. I think the tire game is going to be a big thing. I tried 3 different compounds today, and what I ended with was a relapse, and I was really happy with where I was with that. It was really good in a clay compound. So here's a cool part of the track. Nice little downside of the tabletop. Then into this step up section. Zach, you've already stepped up, so take it from there.
Yeah, so typically what you want to do through this jump is you're actually scrubbing as you go up the ramp. So if you can be accelerating as hard as you can into the up ramp, and then you brake as you come up the jump. And as you can see, it's quite a big step up here, but you want to just be clearing the top of this jump here. And if you can, that means you're getting on the power sooner and setting yourself up for this next corner. So again, probably on the outside of this jump, scrubbing up the face, and then if you can, power down a little bit, and then you're into this 180 here. It's quite a good corner. I like this one.
It's a great corner. I've only really started to like it in the last run. I've been working on the setup a lot through here to get the car to rotate and really release in the rear end. It was too locked in. So I've been changing rear link height and things, and that worked really well. So I've got the car much faster through here. So pivoting around that 180 and then into a really cool section. I like this section over this sort of little roller here. I don't like to carry too much speed and get too much air here. I like the car to settle kind of about here and then set myself up on a really nice angle for this really skewed triple, which again is at an angle.
It's super.
Tony, can you get that from there? I think the angle is just amazing when you look at that, right?
Yeah, and if you're hitting the jump here and you're looking at where you're going, you're pretty much jumping off the track.
You jump straight off the track.
So the preferred line is probably only like a meter maximum off the pipe here, and that sets you up for the next corner. If you're on the outside here, then you're pretty likely
going to get you.
Yeah, you're going to be off the track, eh?
So yeah, into this nice little triple. You don't have to carry too much speed, right? It's a great jump. I think what Edward's done really well is build really good, consistent jumps. I've found there's probably been tens of thousands of laps. I've heard some of the young Aussies yesterday went through 5 liters in a day. So there's been a few engines replaced. I reckon there might be some cars replaced as well. Maybe some of the young kids need to be replaced. They might burn themselves out easily.
Yeah.
But landing here on the triple, and then into a nice sort of floating double. This is a cool section.
Yeah.
You're coming, down here into the triple and then kind of almost whipping a little bit off this jump and then landing into the double lander on the section over there and then hard on the gas over to the next corner. I really enjoy this section. My car works brilliantly here.
I
carries a lot of
find here in this instance, you don't want to be on the inside because it's such a sweeping corner. You kind of need to be in the middle, and there is a little bit of a down ramp here. And for sure, if you just get the down ramp,
it's quick.
You carry heaps more speed up to the next section. But in this case, I think somewhere in the middle is where you want to be, and that gives you like a nice sweeping corner into that drop down.
It's safe and it's the actual fast line for once, right? So this is one of the only jump sections where you do have a little bit of leeway in terms of where you can land and be safe and not crash. Obviously in the middle there is nice and fast.
Yeah.
And then flat out on the gas, then up into the binders here. And I love these kind of corners, right? Up into it, right on the pipe, down and then shoot through to the short shoot into what is a great right-hander. If your car's working well, again, you're really hugging that apex and carrying plenty of speed through here.
Yeah, a little bit of a short shoot. It is quite difficult to pull the car up right on the apex. It's because there's a little riser just on the corner, and right when you're letting off the brakes, and your car sort of lifts up as you come through it.
Lifts up and it wants to kind of drift and almost fall off. It might be hard to see. It's only small, but
there's enough there. I mean, it's probably a foot or something like that. But for you to get right on the apex, it's super hard. So
yeah. You've kind of been anywhere from 2 feet out from there, I've found has been really good, certainly with my car.
And this section's we're leading into a lot of off camber, and this is just sort of an early off camber, little washing speed here, and if you can be on the inside, it'll really set you up for this tabletop.
This corner's the early indicator of what's coming in terms of off camber, right? They start to warm up with their off camber stuff here, and it only gets more significant as we go through here. Nice little got a single tabletop here, little bit of speed, kind of. I just end up popping over this, landing on the down ramp here, and then I like to be really tight on the pipe here. I find it's really quick. Get around here, get through, and then make sure, you're not falling off. You can see it's starting to slide away with the off camber here.
Yeah, and this off camber, if you're right on the inside, you've actually got a bit of a down ramp here.
Yep.
So this you can carry so much more speed getting into the next section if you're right on the apex. You can use that down ramp to accelerate harder. If you're out here, it's all just flat track and you lose that bit of time, and then you're too tight for the next corner. So you've got to be tight on the apex there and then actually sweeping across this section. And this is probably the most off camber section on the track.
This is such a cool section. So, I mean, you're just so hard on the gas out here. The front wheel's almost off the ground at times because there's so much grip. And, as you come into here, you've got to be carrying the right amount of speed. Otherwise, you literally just fall off the side of the corner.
And there's a small window here, really. I find, like, obviously you don't want to hit the pipe because you're just going to lose time, but you don't want to be too much further outside than that. So
it's a couple of feet again.
You're like a foot off the rope, but don't go any further than a meter off the pipe because then you'll wash down the apex and you'll lose so much time.
And it's deceptive because, it's one of those corners where a little bit slower is a lot faster in terms of time lost versus time gained, right? So again, that sort of foot off the pipe carries speed through here rather than falling off the cliff and being out in the dust. And a foot off there, coming around here, and this is a good tabletop, right? They've had a lot of time to build this. Edward talked to us about how they built the track last night. They built it in sections. So he had, a couple of corners he did design, and then he'd come back from work after a couple of days, talk to his track crew and design the next section. And this is great. I mean, really nice sort of flowing tabletop, easy off here. I like to be kind of in the middle to the left-hand side, setting myself up for the run through into the tricky double, as we like to call it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm generally jumping pretty far on this section. There's not much of a down ramp, so if you overshoot it, it's not really the end of the world. And if you are on the outside, it's so much easier to do this next section.
Yeah, I certainly find
this is probably the hardest double on the track. If you don't get this right, then the next 8-pack around the corner is really difficult.
Yeah, the challenge with this corner is you kind of naturally want to hold to the inside, but when you do, you just see how this next double sets you up. If you're hugging the pipe, you end up not in the right line. You're going to end up crashing.
Yeah.
Really, really difficult section. So being a little wider here and in the middle of the track, as you say, it just sets you up for a much easier double. And Tony will be able to get the angle here.
Yeah, if you come right across, you can pretty much see that there's a straight line here. Like you're running wide, and then there's a straight line through here if you're nice and wide. If you're sweeping tight, then you're going to have to be turning while you're jumping, and that's going to really make it quite difficult for the next section.
I think it's just all about consistency through here because, the way I'm coming through here, if you don't get this critical double right, it's really difficult to chase what's about to come up in the double, right? So I think for me, this is the important part of the track.
Yeah.
Getting this right really sets you up for a good section as we get through to the next part. And you can see all the dust.
So many people landing in there, and you can, all the dust is coming in right where you want to be turning.
Yeah.
And this is what makes this section even harder. I mean, many people have said this is just Cinetic in reverse, and the track has got a lot of aspects that are similar to Cinetic. It is super difficult, and you need a lot of liters to get comfortable. And it's probably, we've had 2 days of consistent running today, and it's probably only until this afternoon we started to not make mistakes on a run.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult. I talked to Robert this morning about the amount of mistakes, that you make on your first tank here. You feel a bit like a beginner again. He said it's going to be almost impossible to run a main, which is 60 minutes, right? It's going to be a 60-minute final. To run that with no mistakes here is basically going to be an impossible task. Getting through qualifying with no mistakes, that'll be the first target we've got to get through.
Before this section, just have a look at these banners though. They've done an awesome job. I mean, you'd pretty much call this the banner wall, double lane. It's super high, big VP banners there. Looks so good.
Yeah, thanks to all the sponsors that have supported the Asian Buggy Championships and the Philippine Masters 2023. What I find that works really well about these banners, though, is it kind of breaks the track. So it gives you an edge to the track. You're not looking into the back of, trees and
Oh
the
yeah,
horizon.
it gives you all
right?
that perspective
It gives
so
you the
much better.
perspective.
Yeah,
And I know that's, that's something for me that I really enjoy. So
yeah.
again,
Okay.
yeah, you can't go too tight here, right? Too tight there, you're going to spin the tires up
Yeah,
and you're going to be in trouble for the next double. So it's almost like coming off that corner a foot or two. And then what I find with this next double, double, double section is wherever you set the car to start is really critical. If you don't get that right,
yeah.
you're chasing your tail and you've got really little opportunity to make any adjustments as you get through here.
Yeah.
And with traffic, I think this is going to be some make or break times as we go through this section.
Like if you're taking off from right on the pipe on the inside here,
You're
it's
in the
so easy to
grass.
fall off the track, and you can almost see that if you straight line from here, you're in the grass and you're outside of it. So you pretty much want to be close to the middle on this jump, and then that sets you up perfectly for the next section. And it's so hard to see from the driver's stand, but this has got so much curve to it. So even though you might feel a little bit strange jumping in the middle, and you naturally want to jump to the inside, you have to be in the middle to get inside on this next one.
And what I've found is once you get through this first double right, the rest of it flows.
Yeah,
So
it's
as
much
long
better.
as you're not making a mistake and you're too, if you're too narrow and you're really tight on the pipe and you end up even down here, it makes the next section really difficult. Whereas if you can set yourself up and be in the middle as you come through that first double, it does flow really well.
Yeah, 100%. It probably took me half a day to get it right. It's not easy. It's so much elevation and camber.
Well,
I'm sure Robert and Ongara will make it look easy, but
yeah,
this is going to be the decider, I think, in the main. It's going to be really difficult to hit this section for an hour.
yeah, it's going to be really
Near
tough.
impossible, really.
It's going to be tough. I mean, Robert said to me this morning, the track is super difficult. So when you got a world champion saying, yeah, the track is really technical, it's very difficult. I've been to Cinetic 4 or 5 times. One of the things about that track, and this section is Cinetic in reverse, but one of the things about that track is it's big and it's open. You have a little bit more time. There's so much going on here.
Yeah, it's a bit tighter here, hey?
And it is a lot tighter in
Yeah.
terms of, the lap time. It's really difficult. Cinetic, we were 51, 52 second laps. Here, I think Robert laid down a 39 today. So it's significantly quicker than that. And you just don't have any time to make any adjustments.
And you just can't take a breath, really.
You can't take a breath.
No, even the straight is quite difficult just with the braking points and stuff.
Yep.
A couple of holes forming, so
there are.
have to
I'm
see.
sure they'll
Probably
patch
those. Yeah.
So you come through the 3 doubles of death, and this one's great. Pretty easy. Just come through here on the gas, send it.
You need quite a bit of power, though.
Heaps of power.
You really need to give it nearly full throttle to make
full
sure
throttle
you hit
through
it.
here. No worries about the landing. It's a nice long, gentle downslope. All the cars have been landing well here, so plenty of speed. Again, an opportunity to take a little breath before you get into the right-hander and into the last 2 double-doubles of the lap.
This right-hander is quite difficult, I find, just to pull the car up right on the apex. It's quite banked coming into here, so we've had to go up in our diffs and our shocks just to sort of support the car. So much speed coming into here, and it's so banked, but still it wants to wash off the apex. So,
it's a tricky
coming
corner.
in pretty hard, but you've really got to be on the brakes hard to get it to pull up.
Yep.
Because you're carrying so much speed from that last section, and you've got a big down ramp that you're accelerating down as well. So this is probably one of the biggest braking points on the track. And if you can be right on the apex, it's really going to set you up for the next section.
Yeah, which is great. If you can get in on that apex, get your braking right, carry enough speed, it's just a nice blip of the throttle, and you're really jumping all the way over to the next apex.
Yeah, I find it's actually quicker if you over jump the down ramp just a little bit. I'm pretty much jumping into the corner, and your car sort of unloads as you land, and then it just like rotates quickly on the apex. So don't try and hit the down ramp back there. Like actually try and jump to the corner, like somewhere around here.
Yep. I did that watching you today. It makes a massive difference.
Much quicker, right?
Much quicker. So jumping into the corner there I don't even use any brakes, and the car just unloads.
Yeah, you don't
and away
need to
you
brake.
go.
You just sort of land and it rotates around. Yeah.
That's it. And then on to the last double to set yourself up for another lap. So, this one's a really easy double. Come around, little blip, and away you go. And you start the lap again in what is probably the most technical track I've ever driven. That's for sure. I
Yeah.
never thought I'd say that again
No,
after going to Cinetic and, Pattaya with some of the buggy party races and, getting into Pattaya after the World's Track in 2010. But this is next level in terms of, some of the jumps that they've built and the technicality and the fact that there is just no chance to take a break and get a breath.
Awesome contingent as well. We've got 17 countries this weekend competing. I came here 10 years ago for the Manila Masters, and there was only 2 international. To see this now, where it is, we've got full live RC coverage, huge media set this weekend. Hopefully, bring out this media and show it all to the world. I mean, not many people see this style of track. Hard packed, lots of grip. It's going to be an awesome weekend. I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to that. And we got Scotty on the mic, so he'll create a great atmosphere. It's going to be a fantastic race. Thanks to everyone for coming. As Zach said, 17 countries, 140 entries or something. It's capped out. Looking forward to this round. And then round 2 at your track in Brisbane coming up in July.
July, that's right. Yeah, and we've got a lot planned for that, and hopefully we keep this series going. The aim is to have it as a 3 different countries series, so we're sort of actively working on the 3rd country. Scotty's getting busy, and yeah, let's get it done. Asian Buggy Championships, round 1.
That's it. We'll check in over the next couple of days. Thanks for hanging with us for the track walk. We've got seating tomorrow afternoon, a round of qualifying, then another 4 rounds on Saturday.